that we have come up with. So with Nestlé, we run a variety of things, and what I maybe just mention that one there, getting your message across. So that's a program which I run, and I run it in the context of projects, and I get a lot of young project managers working in R&D, and their great difficulty, or the company perceives it as their difficulty, and they usually also recognize the difficulty, is communicating successfully with marketing and the commercial world of Nestlé. And Nestlé is a very, very commercial company, but it is also a very research-driven company. So getting your message across, for me and them, is all about that. So the program we run is again about mindfulness, reflecting on R&D, how R&D works, how they go about things, and then getting them, hopefully with some people from marketing involved, to reflect on how they do business, how they work, and then practicing, standing up in front of a group of sort of hard-nosed commercial people, and getting their latest project across them. So that's what we do. One thing you might notice in this list here is that word culture isn't mentioned. And I think if I was showing this to you 10 years ago, the word culture would be in many of these titles of courses that we offer. Certainly with Nestlé, as I've already indicated, it doesn't help, really. I mean, even though the issue may well be cultural, especially organizationally cultural, to actually put it in the title and to say this is what I'm coming to do with you is not what they think they're looking for. And so therefore, the message is very much around business outcomes, about what people are going to be able to do. And I think this is, I mean, I think those of us who started many, many years ago, you know, at the end of the 70s in ESP, I think we understood this. It was very much about understanding the business and looking at the business outcomes that our participants needed. And I think this is what we need to never forget and we need to focus on. So those are focusing on that sort of thing. With Zielabeg, what we've done with them, you remember they were the company who are struggling to move away from their German base. We do a 5-day course, and we're lucky because we get 5 Germans and 5 from the subsidiaries. So they come in to York, really, really lucky. This doesn't happen with many clients, but they come in from, you know, China, the States, South America, where they set up subsidiaries, and then we always have 5 people in head office. And what we're looking to do is to break down the internal silos. So that is very much, again, about this technical quality focus that the head office has, and getting them to adapt to the markets, to build understanding of the new market. So we spend a lot of time having given them models of how they can talk about their markets to get them to talk about them. And, you know, in this case with this client, there is an overt objective around the attitudinal one. So that's what we're doing there. I mentioned Tesco. I don't know what Tesco is doing now. I worked with Tesco some time ago, and what we used with Tesco was this tool developed by WorldWork, which some of you will know, international profile, so sort of psychometric tool, which allows people to fill in a questionnaire, and then you can give them feedback on their attitudes and their preparedness to work internationally. So we tried to help them with that. With Merck Serono, I get to work with them on a 2+2 formula, so 2 days and they come back, and we do this sort of stuff. We work on understanding their teams, understanding the people in Darmstadt. We work on how they give direction to their teams, etc. Feedback, quite a large role. But again, what I'd like you to notice about that is this agenda is an agenda very much related to the business outcomes and the things that they have to do at work daily. That's where we're starting from. I mean, maybe we are doing some intercultural stuff. Maybe we are, you know, maybe Hofstede or Trompenaars or whatever is informing some of the things we're doing and the way we're doing them, but it's definitely not up there on the surface. This is what we're focusing on. Oh yes, and finally, just a few words about Satphone, because I wanted to just say that I think that this approach is relevant outside the corporate sector, and so I've been working with them, and what I get there is I usually get about 10 project managers who are going to be sent to work in the developing world for NGOs and aid projects. And we follow a very similar agenda to the corporate one, but obviously adapted to their particular parts of the world where they're going to work. So just really to say that I think it's relevant outside the corporate sector as well. Okay, conclusions. Time for questions, definitely. So what I'd like to leave you with is to say that cultural and intercultural competence is absolutely central to successful international business, but the solutions that we offer our clients need to focus on the benefits to the business rather than of interest to the trainers. And I think, you know, those of you who are mainly interculturalists, as opposed to sort of business English trainers, I mean, I know a lot of you are doing both. I think, you know, we need to guard against this. We need to guard against intercultural training going down a blind alley of essentially being stuck with some very interesting work on understanding culture and understanding differences, but then not being able to move forward to make a difference for our participants. So that's what we're trying to do. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say. Hopefully it struck some chords, or maybe, you know, there are things that you don't agree with. So now I'd like to open it up for discussion, questions. We've got some mics here, so I think so we can make sure that everybody... Carl, what's the question here? Well, I think...
Right. Oh, that works. Good. So I'm Kirsten Wächter, and I would just like to thank you because I think I'm in the same situation. And one problem that I have is not the attitude. I fully agree with mindfulness and everything, but my clients pay me for an English training. When I go into the company, I find out that this is about people who need to do their job internationally. So it turns into an intercultural communication training, but I'm not paid for it. And that is actually a big problem. Because I think, yeah, it's a language thing, and I love that with the Swiss guys, because everybody thinks they speak German, so it must be easy. It's not. And that is actually a big challenge that we can't get across, so we pay half of what an intercultural trainer charges, and that is actually also a big problem, I think, for a lot of us.
It's a very, very familiar issue, and I think all of us face that. And you know, we've trained a lot of trainers with this DPI approach, and you know, they've enjoyed the training. They seem to have got something from it, but actually going out and selling it to their clients at a marketable rate is another matter altogether. And I guess, you know, what it is a reflection of is that we, as a profession, quite rightly, are good at what we do in the training room, and we're not necessarily very good at selling what we do in the training room. And to be honest, that's what we need to be good at doing if we want to go down this road. You know, it's not an easy thing to make that switch, and you have to think about your positioning, how you position your business, how you sell your business. You know, there are lots of issues. And I think that if a client has brought you in to do language training, and that's how they perceive you, it's going to be very difficult to switch them. So in a way, it's easier talking and promoting it to a client who is you wearing your intercultural, your business communication, or your international leadership hat, and talking about that. And then later adding on some language training to that. So I think that way is easier than coming from the language. That's nice. I don't know, does anybody else want to respond to this question? Yeah, Jim.
Yeah, thanks again, Jeremy. I think the problem that I have is that I'm called in to do something like that, to train people either on the language level or explicitly for intercultural communication, but the client wants outcomes, they want results. And those results are measured in primarily, well, on their end, of course, the bottom line, but in the participants on the skills level. They feel they made progress if they're better in their skills. I feel if I'm doing my job well, then I'm giving them lots of knowledge as well. And they'll go away and think, oh, I learned a lot of things. It might open some horizons and stuff. But if I'm doing my job excellently, I've changed, I've done something transformative with them. They come out different people because we've worked on the attitude level. Okay, and that for me is the priority. I mean, coming in for on a level that's the high priority for the client, change those behaviors. But my priority as a trainer is down at the bottom to change those attitudes. Okay, and so I have a completely upside down view of things, of what I'm going in there for as a private person or as a human being, and what the client wants me to do there. And I wonder maybe you can address that.